Let's move on now to the Jacksonville Jaguars and our AFC South free agency recap series. But before we get into that, we want to have a huge shout out to everybody that subscribed to our channel and helped us reach our goal of getting to 1,000 subscribers by the NFL draft. We completed it well sooner than Ryan and I both thought that we could do it, and it's all thanks to you guys. And so if you have not already subscribed, join our growing community. It is the fastest growing YouTube channel that talks about football with 3 letters that start out the initials that we have seen so far. So join that growing community, join the phenomenon that everyone is doing, and let's get into the Jacksonville Jaguars. Ryan, Jacksonville Jaguars absolutely exceeded expectations in 2022. We've continually talked about that. They have had a mild offseason so far. The big question was around what they're going to do with their tight end, and there was some back and forth. And I know I said that I don't think they should franchise tag Evan Engram, or at least resign. But I can agree with the franchise tag, since it's just a 1-year deal, and I like that. I think he can still come in. Let's see if he can do it again. At the same time, it does not take away from what I was saying that I think they should do, which is draft a tight end at some point in the draft, because this is a very deep tight end draft to get a guy that can be the Evan Engram for years to come. So let's get into kind of what else has gone on in their free agency so far, starting off with who they lost. Ryan, there's one key guy that we, as at the top of everybody's list, that is now not with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Who is that guy?
That is Jawan Taylor, the right tackle. He had his best season in Jacksonville in 2022, and he ended up signing a monster deal with the Kansas City Chiefs. And honestly, at that money, I do not blame the Jaguars for letting him go. They did also lose a few other pieces: Arden Key, Chris Manhertz, their other tight end, and then actually that is it for their losses. Just those 3 guys. And honestly, I think if you're looking at this draft and where they're picking, I think the Jawan Taylor loss actually is a pretty easy hole to fill. But we will save that for a later segment in this video. Let's get into who they added this year. And they actually only added 3 players. Dearness Johnson, the running back from Cleveland, Michael Dogbe, the interior defensive lineman from Arizona, and then Henry Mondo, the interior defensive lineman from New York. So they did also have a couple of re-signings. You already mentioned Evan Engram. Roy Robertson Harris is staying with the Jaguars as well. Andrew Wingard, the safety, staying as well. And then a couple of rotational pieces: Trey Herndon, CJ Beathard, JaMychal Hasty, Adam Gotsis, and then Tavon Campbell, and then a few others, but I won't get into those. So
yeah, it's a couple things to note about it. And actually, since this, they did cut Shaq Griffin, and then also Marvin Jones just signed with the Lions. I wouldn't say significant losses. Marvin Jones, he was getting much older, and they can absolutely replace him. And so, but with the pieces that they added on back and some of their key re-signings, I think were key. I think for Jacksonville.
And one thing I do want to add into their additions column is going to be Calvin Ridley. He was not a factor last season, and I think bringing him in makes this offense even better. Him and Marvin Jones are very different body types, but they still play that outside receiver that I think that the Jaguars are going to see a lot of success with. So So they pretty low key overall, but yeah, you're right. It's everything that they have lost. I would say that they have either re-signed or potentially could have lost, have either re-signed or replaced. I think up into this, and so they have a lot of talent. Like, watching them was a lot of fun in the second half of that year. Trevor Lawrence is absolutely the guy, and then signing Christian Kirk, I know he proved me wrong, because I was thinking, like, I don't know if Kirk really is the guy, just because DeAndre Hopkins there. Maybe he's just the other guy. But no, he turned out to be the number 1 guy. Evan Engram came in, and he turned into be one of the better tight ends in the league. And so, and then Travis Etienne is definitely coming along strong, and Zay Jones is also there as well. So there is a lot of pieces. And as you mentioned with Calvin Ridley, this is going to be a fun team to watch. And in a very weak AFC South, it is tough for me to even try and make an argument for them not to win the division. barring the Colts getting Lamar Jackson, they clearly have the most solid all-around roster and the best quarterback situation going into the season. So I really like what they have going forward. Let's take a step into what we think they should do in the draft. They do have the 24th overall pick. And for me, this is where I think you're in prime Juwan Taylor replacement territory with either Darnell Wright or DeJuan Jones, the right tackle from Tennessee and then the right tackle from Ohio State. Both absolute monstrous players. They're both over 6'4", both over 335 pounds. Played right tackle at a very high level in college and projected to do the same. And to me, they're plug and play starters on that right side.
Yeah. I will say, don't forget about Anton Harrison as well.
Yeah, Anton Harrison played more on the left side as well. However, I do think schematically, him and Juwan Taylor are very similar players. And so I do like that as well. He played more on the left side in college, though. So there would be a position change there. However, going from left to right is a lot easier than going from right to left. So that's that is also another option there at the tackle position. Is there where else do you think they could go at 24? Because they do have a lot of flexibility with that pick.
So for me, it all depends on who's available, but with there's a lot of great cornerback play, I think, in this draft, especially on the top end as well. So if for some reason, somehow Joey Porter Jr. falls, Deontay Banks falls, I think they can snag them up there. If they really like what they see in a Emmanuel Forbes, or maybe if they love Keely Ringo's athleticism, and then they feel like they can develop him, but they feel like he won't make it to their second round pick, then they can go with Keely Ringo as well. And there's a bunch of others as well that's just not coming to my mind. Tarek Stevenson, I think, is also there. Cam Smith from South Carolina is also there as well. I mean, there's a lot of good corners in this class, and that's why maybe if they want to address the offensive line first, because the offensive line definitely is a little bit thinner overall in this draft, because they can absolutely address cornerback later. But if there's a guy that they truly like and they feel like he's the best player available, and they feel like they don't like Darnell Wright, or if they don't like DeJuan Jones, or they feel like they'll be there with the second pick, then I say they can absolutely go corner here with this first pick.
Yeah, another one that I think is kind of a sneaky spot, just where they are. I really like Will McDonald and Nolan Smith. They're a little bit speedier edge rushers. Nolan Smith probably a little bit higher just because he is a more effective run defender and can be more of a true 3-down edge. If he's there, that's a hard one to pass up. And then also possibly adding, if Quentin Johnson makes it that far, they don't really have that big rebounding receiver. And I know Quentin Johnson didn't do that well in contested catch situations in college. Yeah. However, I still think he has the body type, and I think if you can coach him well, Jacksonville would be a scenario where I would like him to be able to go and develop for a couple years before taking on a true lead role in an offense. So those are another couple pieces there. But yeah, anything else you think they could do? Tight end or?
It's possible. I would think that receiver and the way that they like to play, because if you look at it, I think they kind of do have that big body guy in Evan Engram. I mean, he's a tight end technically, but he is a just giant slot-esque receiver. Who go get those jump balls. If you look at all the other receivers, they're all really quick, really shifty. They play super fast football, and even Travis Etienne in the backfield. So. I like the setup that they have here. Do they need a guy like that? Yes. And I think Quentin Johnson has the speed to then also assist kind of with to support all of the other strengths of the other star receivers. But that being said, though, I don't know. That's the most pressing need, I think, that would make this team better. If you go get Quentin Johnson, I don't think that makes that team immediately better. But if you can go replace Juwan Taylor and get and hit on the right tackle, that's going to make your team better immediately. Or if you go get one of these star corners in the first round potentially as well. Or if they do Darnell Wright in the first round, and then let's say Keely Ringo in the second round, then if he were to fall that far, I'd say that is a win.
That's
picks.
A huge win on both picks. And so, and I think that makes this team as big of a contender as, I mean, the the Bengals at that point, because I think you have Trevor Lawrence going into year 3. You have this elite offense. You're going to have a strong offensive line in front of them, and then you got to think this defense is going to improve as well with Trayvon Walker going into his second year. So I really like what they have going forward into 2023.
Oh no, they're going to be fun to watch. We were talking about it when they made it to the AFC Divisional round, and the matchup was Mahomes versus Lawrence, and then Burrow versus Allen. And you and I, we were talking just how spoiled we might be over the next decade of football. Yeah. And these are just 4 teams. Like, let's say Stroud and Young hit. Well, but except only one of them is going to be in the AFC. But you just look at this AFC, and they are absolutely loaded. They are loaded with QB talent, and we are about to be spoiled for the next decade.
Yeah, and then I think you look, you didn't even mention Justin Herbert.
No, those are just
Russell Wilson is also there. Lamar Jackson is technically under contract with the Ravens. Kenny Pickett had a really solid rookie year. There's a ton of quarterback talent in the AFC, and so it's the most competitive I've ever seen a division or a conference in professional sports, in my opinion. But I'm trying to think. Is Tannehill? I mean, right now the Colts don't have a quarterback, but of all the ones who are like legitimate, or like by legitimate, I mean like they've started for the past couple of years. Is Tannehill the worst quarterback in the AFC? I would say. Like, I'm trying to think off just the top of my head, just going through everything. Maybe you can throw Jimmy Garoppolo in there as well, only just because he's not like lethal. Like I would put Tannehill, Garoppolo, Mac Jones, Tua, and it's not even. I'm not even trying to insult those last couple of guys. It's just I don't think they're as good as the top 8. Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I think that's a very reasonable argument. So it's really interesting to see how this is going to play out. I do expect Jacksonville to win the AFC South and then win another playoff game. I think that's definitely within the realm of possibility, as well as possibly competing for the AFC title. So all in all, I think they're set up really well. Let's go ahead and wrap up their offseason review there. If you haven't already, please go ahead and like and subscribe and leave a comment down below on what you think the Jaguars should do at that 24th overall pick. You want a right tackle? Do you want another weapon for Trevor Lawrence? You think they should go corner? Let us know down below. That rhymed. I did it on purpose. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.